Hey guys, welcome to The Roundtable. Here at The Roundtable, we continue the conversations that we have had from Sunday morning and how you can have practical ways to help every person take their next steps towards Jesus together.
Hey everybody, welcome to season 2 of The Roundtable. We had taken an opportunity to take a little bit of a break. We're going to go into some depth on why we had to take a break, but we're really excited about being back. There's a new set, so Jenny, maybe you can explain a little bit about our new, she's styling us up a little bit. She thought last year the table might not have been up to par, and so her and Nick got together and put together a new set for us. So talk to us a little bit about the new set that we have here, Jenny.
Yeah, the old table was awful. You could see
Well, it was awful for a couple
It was a beautiful
reasons.
table, but it was just
No, it was
working.
awful because both of us talk with our hands, and so do our guests.
Yes.
And so every time they did something, they went, Doom.
Yeah,
So if you were
every
listening to
time.
the podcast before, there is no more
Yeah,
in the
thankfully,
middle
because we have
of
these
it.
beautiful mics now.
Yeah, and we have mustard-looking chairs,
And they're the
which
best.
I was
He
like,
said
can
that
you give me any
yeah.
chair other than the mustard color? Because I don't know if that fits my manly thing.
You
Like,
said you are not sitting in the mustard
no,
chair.
and I came in today, and there's nothing but mustard.
You know why? Because I placed them here last night so that there wouldn't be an option to
Yeah,
put
no,
the gray one
I
over
get no
here.
choices, so I'm sitting in a mustard chair
It's
today.
beautiful, though.
Yeah, so maybe we're going to have a fan segment. That's going to be new. You'll see that at the end. So in the fan segment, you can tell whether or not, or give us feedback on Facebook of whether or not I look okay in a mustard chair.
I think you look great in the mustard chair.
Because fans like feedback will for sure outweigh your opinion.
No.
Just so we're saying. Just so everybody knows that. If Jenny says mustard's good, but you say, hey.
What are you going to do? Take the gray chair?
I'm going to do something. But here's the deal. What about a camouflage chair?
What chair?
Does that fit my personality?
Oh my gosh, I have a joke about that.
About a camouflage
Yes.
chair?
No,
okay,
not
what
as-
else did we do different? What else is different
so
for us?
behind us is a beautiful, I don't know the exact words, but it's a bead and board, I think is what it is. I probably just messed it up because I messed it up every time I say
I have
it.
no idea.
It's something like that.
But again, it's
it looks
painted.
like molding. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
so
just
let's talk
wood.
about, nobody knows this, Jenny's colorblind.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she picked out our paint colors.
No.
And so she decided that she was going to paint it blue and painted it gray.
No, navy.
Okay, she was going
'Cause
to
it
paint it
was
navy,
blue.
and she went to get paint, and she got gray.
Yeah. No. Okay. The first time.
That's exactly what you said happened.
I know, but it wasn't me. It was just like a little bit of a hint of blue should have been added to the gray, and it would have been perfect, just like what happened here. So I got a whole gallon of paint.
And started painting,
Yes, with it was a Newsberry blue.
and it was gray.
No, that one was blue. So that one was like a royal blue. Like,
Oh, so you had more than one paint screw up?
yes. So I started with it, and then we painted the whole wall. Okay. And then I'm like, I cannot live with that. I was like, I do not want anything to do with that. I don't want to say that I did the wall, nothing, because I hated it that much.
Okay.
Like, it kept me up
I mean,
at
you're
night.
owning the mustard chairs, but you wouldn't own a navy wall.
No.
Or a whatever
Mustard
wall.
chairs are cool.
Yeah.
It's like 1970.
Yeah, I know. That's the point.
That is the point.
Huh?
But anyway, so then I waited. So we did this Sunday night. And then yesterday night, I went and got another gallon of paint, which was supposed to be, it was called Mysterious.
And just so we're on the same page, that wasn't right either.
No, that was dark gray.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the mom saved the day.
No, I did. It was
I
my
thought-
idea.
Wait a second. I thought your mom decided to mix the paint.
No, she was hesitant about it. And I said, I just have a
So
feeling.
Jenny saved the
it's gonna
day,
work
mixed the
out.
paint. This is what we came up with.
Exactly what I wanted.
Looks awesome. The other thing that we added is our screen. So we got the
Yeah.
new screen. Nick, our producer, put up the screen for us, and we'll show you later how we're going to be using that. But one way that it's going to be in the future is so when we have Zoom guests.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that we're looking for in the future is if you're a podcast listener that doesn't live within the state, but you want to be on, and we want you to be on, it'd be great to have you on as a Zoom. And so we're going to use it for that. And we're also going to use it as a part of our fan segment going in.
Contest.
Yeah, at the end. So,
I'm going to win.
Yeah. Right. So
Yeah, I
it'll
got
be
you on a roll
So it'll
saying
be
yeah.
a part of that. We have books, so a little bit of a decoration here. Have you read any of these?
No. Have you?
Yes, I read them all. No, that's not true. I haven't read How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth, but the other ones I've read.
I just thought they were for show.
Leaders Eat Last, great book.
That's
if you want
cute.
to read it. And The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. If you're struggling with being able to know how to lead a team, Patrick Lencioni, the way he writes books is awesome. You'll love that. And I guess I'll have to figure out how to read the Bible.
Yeah, I guess so. I think he's really struggling with that.
Okay, so let's talk about why we were away. So we took a little
Yes.
bit of a break. Both of us had life situations happen that kind of put a hold on, even though we wanted to be able to do it, life situations got in the way. So Jenny, why don't you tell a little bit about your life situation? I'll tell a little bit about mine, and then we'll go on with the podcast. So what was going on in your life that kind of, I won't say messed things up, but changed a little bit on whether that we could do the roundtable?
Well, the first segment that I had missed, it really didn't have anything to do with my whole situation of me leaving, but it was because Tammy was new and I couldn't leave her and we were super busy. But then that
So she
same
picked
week,
Tammy over the podcast, just so anybody's wanting to know who's loyal and who's
Yes.
not,
Hey.
and who puts it first and who's not.
can we twist it to?
I'm just saying,
No.
like, Tammy was more important than, but
No,
that's okay. Just keep going.
The customers were more important
Okay.
because she would have been not good.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we love the customers at the Cafe of Hope.
Yes.
So thank you.
yeah. So then I think that same week was my birthday. But I don't know if you remember around that time, I was working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
I was always tired. I was either working or sleeping. And I mean, I was doing that for a good 3 months, I think, 3-4 months. And I had stopped going to church, as we all know.
As we all reminded her every week when we're doing the
single
roundtable
week.
to talk about what we talked about on church. But by the way, Jenny doesn't go to church, so
Yes. Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty.
it's okay. It's good because you always said that you watched it online, but
No, I did.
no, I know,
sometimes.
right? Like 5 minutes before we went on, but that's okay. It's okay. We're,
Hey, at
we're
least I
on to
was-
a new phase of life.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then so I stopped going to church. I stopped hanging out with people. I stopped doing everything that I had put and placed into my recovery to keep me good and to keep me accountable and everything else. Everything just started diminishing as I was working more and not taking care of myself. And it was the day after my birthday. I hadn't had a thought to use in a pretty long time at that point. And I wasn't working. I don't think I had a day off. And that was my first day off in a month. And I woke up that morning and it was the 20th of February, remember, because that was the day after my birthday. And I just had this random, I just thought, I could use before I was going to go to Indy and hang out with a friend. And that thought turned into action within 5 minutes. And then within 10 minutes, I had reached out to somebody that I hadn't spoke to in over 2 years. And he just so happened to be going to get it and was actually there. And he said he'd be back in an hour and to be at his house in an hour. So from the point of me thinking about doing it to the point of me getting it was an hour and a half. And that's rare.
Right, which then led to somewhat of this downward spiral
Yeah.
that, you've pulled yourself out of now, but was in a little bit of a downward spiral for you.
Yeah. So it lasted for about a month and a half. And that is the shortest amount of time that I have been able to pick myself back up completely. Before, it's always been the courts or I've gotten arrested or, something has stopped me from using, but it was me.
There's
that
a personal
time.
choice system.
Yeah.
So here's some things that I think it's great for our listeners to know and understand is that one of the tools that Satan uses inside of the lives of people is isolation. So anytime a person is isolated, your thoughts, whether it's using or whether it's lustful thoughts or whether it's, whatever those sin things are, tend to happen when we isolate ourselves from people and we remove ourselves from those who will encourage us. So I think that's a good part of your story because then part of the coming back or recovering from or stopping using has been being back in church, surrounding yourself with the right people, and again, managing life in such a way that fits the rhythm of what you can do, not what everybody else does, which is what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit in comparison. Like part of the problem in the world today is we compare ourselves to everybody else, and then so if everybody else has this, so I want it, so I need to work 3 jobs, because nobody works 3 jobs for the heck of it. right? They work
Yeah.
3 jobs because they want something maybe that they don't even need, but somebody else has, and they want to be able to get it. So,
Yeah.
so are you doing good now?
Yeah, I'm doing super well. I'm doing a lot better than I was.
Yeah.
And I think that the more I think back on it, because I'm an overthinker, but whatever, I like to just figure out reasons why things had happened. And I truly believe that that needed to happen because it just made me, I don't know, it made me more grateful and want to stay in recovery because it was actually my choice.
Right.
And I never have had that. So
Well, and a couple other things that went with that, and I think this is important for all of us to understand, is it also allowed you some time to really do some, like, who am I? How am I made? I was trying to do something because Jenny was the manager of the cafe.
Yep.
So she managed the cafe and had...
yeah, I lost my job because of that. No, I'm just kidding.
She had a great part of it that made the cafe flourish, but there was a part of it, too, that would stress you out.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's changed now. Jenny's in charge of marketing here and helping us. Nick and her working together and taking our social media and our marketing of the cafe, Champs, and Life Church to the next level. So they're working on that together.
Yeah.
Still doing some stuff at the cafe, but not the manager anymore. And I think
Right.
you found a good place to be in, right? So you feel like, hey, this is how God's wired me. So instead of trying to be something that I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
gonna work real hard on what he did design me to do. And so you're finding yourself in a good place right now.
Yeah, and actually, it was something that you had said during church on Sunday was that if you are doing what you are called to do, it won't feel like work.
Yeah.
And this whole like past, I don't know, 3 weeks that I've been in this position, none of it has felt like work. Like
Right.
I'm like, am I even really doing anything?
Right.
But it's amazing. And I've had people my whole entire life tell me that I need to be in marketing. And every time they said that, I'd be grossed out.
Grossed out?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I never saw myself like that.
Well, I mean, and I think Nick, our producer, can attribute to this. And here's the other cool thing about our new segment. Nick has a mic.
Yes, he does.
So
Yes, I do.
That's
yeah,
scary.
so it's not going to be just like us referring to Isaac or Nick over there.
Right.
We can't ever say anything. But I think Nick can attest to, like, we try to create a culture at Life Church that would say, at the end of the day, we can figure out anybody to do anything, but only one person to do what you can do.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the cool thing about creating that environment, because, Nick's journey, we'll have to have him on.
Yeah, no,
Nick's journey is really cool
Yeah.
because nobody maybe people know this, but Nick was hired to be a small group leader.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, when we
Yep.
first brought Nick on, well, part of it was we loved Nick. We loved his story. We loved what God was doing in her life. When we kind of looked around at Life Church and we said, well, what's not getting done? And it was small groups. So we're like, oh, I guess we'll have Nick as a small group leader. But
Wow.
I think we figured out pretty quickly that wasn't your thing.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
Yeah, he's found his niche in this.
Yeah, but that's
Definitely.
my point is that's the culture that we should try to create with people, right? Because it's not just even in a job situation. It's in every situation. Is the greatest thing as a Christian person that we can do is get to know people,
Yeah.
right? And help them find who God created them to be, not
Yeah.
who we want them to be. Yeah, so I'm glad you're in a good place.
Thank
Glad
you.
things are on the up and up. Glad that we're back and being able to
Yes.
do this
Yeah.
together. I think we're going to have a really exciting year on this podcast. I think God did some really incredible things with it last year, and we're really praying that this year we can even have more reach.
Yeah.
So if you're out there listening, we'd love for you to be able to share this, to get more people. If you're watching this, to be able to share this on any of your social media platforms, to be able to get more people on and involved.
Yeah. And email us.
Yes.
I will respond. I'm wanting to have a conversation with people.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. This
Yeah.
is new. Like, for what we're doing is
Yes.
new, and it's to take it to the next level. And remember that what we're doing is to be able to try to get more influence, more outreach, and more opportunity. And we think telling stories around a table or telling stories, since we don't have a table now, I mean, it's name the round
We
table.
have this. These
Okay,
are
so we have
round.
multiple round tables.
These
but
are
we
still
don't have
round
the
tables.
round table anymore.
We have 3
But still,
round
the
tables.
conversation is the same. Conversations around a table change lives.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we're trying to get done. So for me, so my wife, Sherry, who had a gene mutation, she's had it, knew about it when her dad died, and she had a lot of things throughout the years. So through the history here at Life Church, whether it's a brain tumor, kidney cancer, melanoma in the eye, she all had it, and it came from this gene mutation, and each one of those things was something that, was overcome. You know, we'd go to the doctor, we'd pray about it, the church would pray with us. Been on the journey with us for quite a long time, and we would see God do amazing things. And this time when Sherry got sick, we didn't think it would be any different, right? Like in our mind, it's, okay, she's battling this. You know, the diagnosis was mesothelioma in her lungs and stomach, which is, again, is a fatal, you know, diagnosis. But we felt like God's been faithful, and he's going to be faithful again. And so Sherry started getting sick in January. We got the diagnosis somewhere in that 21-day stretch in the hospital. Yeah. But still had every belief in the world that, you know, Sherry would be healed. But she wasn't. So she passed away on July 8th. And like I said, it's, for me, it's still an adjustment, trying to figure out, because most of you know, if you've come to Life Church, you've heard me tell numerous stories that she's my only love. She's what I've known since I've been 15 years old. In fact, I brought my Bible today that she gave us for this. It's funny, I was telling Jenny, you know what your wife thinks you need when your wedding gift is a Bible. And she wrote a little letter inside of that. Note. And what was cool, and this has been true, and we knew this throughout our marriage. So this is what she said. So it's our big day is finally here, and I'm so excited. I love you so much. I know in my heart that God sent me to you. What a blessing. We must always put him first in our lives. Marriage takes 3. Pray that he guides us and directs us with him, and we will never go astray. I love you dearly, sweetheart. And that's really been the story of our life, you know, is that every marriage has complications, but at the end of the day, if God's in the center of it, that, you know, he'll do great things, and we've seen him do amazing things. So now it's this new chapter. Like, what's life look like in doing ministry without her? So still an adjustment. I think probably always will be an adjustment. But I do know this, and I do believe this, that God still has a plan, that I think he can still use me. I think that, you know, this new chapter is a time for me to continue to do ministry, but just do it in a different way, and to be able to see God get the honor and flourish. So that's why we were on a break, but now we're back, and both of us are really invigorated in like what God's doing.
Yeah, I think we've both changed, and it's just weird how we both had, like we were going through the same thing, or not the same thing, but we were going through it, different things at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Like it was really around the same time. When
And I think God has brought it back in this moment. And that's what we have to continue to believe, right? That God has a bigger plan, a picture that we can't see, and that this is a part of it. And that's why, you know, taking this podcast to the next level just isn't just to have a cooler set, right? Like we want to be able to have influence. We want to be able to make a difference in people's lives, and we think that we can.
The goal.
Yeah. So one of our segments is always going to be this. That's obviously not going to be the normal, but our segments, because people like them until you decide whether or not you don't like them. Because
Let us know.
Feedback, fan feedback is going to direct some of our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that we do. So Jenny always had jokes, and we always had the clappy hands that we had out there. So Jenny actually wrote her jokes down on a book. If you can remember last year, Jenny's podcast days, she wrote them on her arm. You know, and her hand, which got smeary, and at times she forgot to write down the whole joke, and she forgot them. But
or I would have sweated off or something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But this year, we are professional. She's got them in
planned. I was going to come up with them like a whole month in advance.
How'd that go?
Oh, I'm still working on it. Remember my blank calendar? Did I?
Yeah. Jenny,
we want to hear you laughing.
No, so the funny thing is,
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I created a blank calendar.
Right.
Okay, and it's beautiful. It is like a happy planner. I should
publish it.
I should.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe next week we'll get a little picture of your blank calendar. And here will be the funny thing.
We should sell it.
Nick, what's the chances it'll still be blank?
I think it'll be a pretty good chance.
We should put a poll. No, because that was on my plan to do today. I have that on my planner.
Who really thinks that Jenny's calendar next week is going to be blank like it is this week?
No.
So, yeah, maybe let us know.
I just made it.
We'll put it out there. No, I know.
I just made it.
No, but the point is that, like, if you actually got stuff on
I'm
it,
going to.
Okay, we'll see.
I know.
We'll take a picture of it.
I've turned over a new leaf.
Okay, how about a joke?
One of my
Why
jokes.
don't you give us a joke?
Okay.
And so Nick gets to weigh in this time, too.
Okay. Well, all of my jokes are around fall.
Okay.
Because it's about to be the first day of fall, and I'm so excited.
And the first day of fall is when?
September 22nd.
And she knew that because she asked Siri.
I did, but I already knew that. I just didn't have my planner with me.
Huh? Yeah.
I knew that because of the cafe. I was going to put something cute on there about pumpkin.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Speaking of pumpkin.
Do you need your glasses, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I have my contacts in. How do you fix a broken pumpkin?
With a jack-o'-lantern?
Hey, that would be good, like a car, like a jack.
Yeah.
No.
No, how do you fix it?
A pumpkin patch.
Nick's not laughing.
What? That is funny. A pumpkin patch.
Okay.
Okay. See, like a patch.
How do you fix a broken pumpkin?
A pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin.
What?
That's how we say it in Hillbillyville.
Pumpkin.
A pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
A pumpkin.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll kind of give a light clap.
No, I already gave it a big one.
Okay. Well,
so
you give them all those.
You said camouflage.
Huh?
You said camouflage.
Camouflage.
I'll always clap for myself.
Okay.
That is self-love. That's self-care.
That is self-care.
Yes.
Take care of yourself.
We should do a self-care segment.
Okay.
Anyways,
got it.
September 15th is National, did you know this? Camouflage Day.
What? What's today?
It's the 14th. So
Why
that's
didn't
tomorrow.
I should have been wearing camouflage today.
You wanted a camouflage chair.
Well, you was the one who said you're in charge of the wardrobe. That was on last week's thing. She was going to let me know, like, we should
both
wear a
wore
certain
gray
thing.
today.
Yeah, but not because you told me. It's because it was the thing not wrinkled in my closet.
Well, it worked out.
Okay.
No, because I was looking through my colors of my wardrobe because I should show my wardrobe on here.
Oh, Lord.
Because I've talked about it before,
Okay,
how colorful it is.
Since
Roy G.
September
Biv.
15th is National Camouflage Sunday. The joke is...
I hope I don't see anybody celebrating.
Okay.
Yes.
I give that one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But can you remind me of these days so that I can,
honestly,
before the podcast,
Okay.
because I want to wear my camouflage.
I did write this down in our meeting, so 11 o'clock, and I guess I didn't take into account what day September
This is the
15th
joke?
was.
No, let's go. What's the next joke?
Oh, the next joke.
Yeah.
All right. Why are trees so forgiving?
Because they bend?
No.
Why?
Because in the fall, they let it go. And in the spring, they turn over a new leaf.
Okay, that's not so
Yeah,
bad.
that was good.
That's pretty good.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
Okay. What do you call a tree that doubts autumn? Oh my gosh, it looks like I wrote something else.
What do you call a tree that doubts autumn?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Disbelief.
What do you call a tree that doubts autumn?
Disbelief. Wait, disbelief.
Yeah. We are truly back.
Okay, well, I
Round
wrote
table
it.
followers, we are
Oh.
truly back. Jenny told a joke, and the
Okay.
punchline she read wrong.
No, not that I read it wrong.
No, you did. You said disbelief.
I did my pauses wrong.
I know you said disbelief,
Disbelief.
which again
But-
got a complete boo and silence from the crowd. Disbelief.
Disbelief.
Yeah, we got it
four is
now.
not
But
bad.
the joke's over. Nobody's laughing at it.
I was still laughing.
Okay. All right, so this is the next segment that we're always going to
Yes.
be doing is our segment on current events. So let's talk about what's going on in the world that interests you right now. Something you're watching, something you're reading.
I have been really, really into podcasts lately.
Okay.
Like, I I downloaded, so this is how I am, just in a nutshell. If I really like something, I go all the way in.
Right.
So I probably have at least 45 on my pod. So I went from 1 to 45 in a day. Now, yeah, so
So you're listening to, do you have a favorite out of the 1 and 45?
it's either Dateline or Crime
What?
Junkie or...
Dateline has a podcast?
Yes, it is so good.
Or
It's
Crime
just like
Junkie.
Dateline.
Yeah, those are really good informational, life-changing
Anatomy
things.
of Murder.
Huh?
That's really good.
Yeah, that's a real life-changing one too. That one helps you when you know how people get cut up in the street.
Yeah, I've learned all kinds of things.
Yeah, just so you know, Jenny knows how to dismember your body now in case you ever make her mad.
Member.
My wife.
What?
Women
Your wife
love
knows
it.
how to dismember
Oh,
bodies?
she loves those podcasts.
Seriously?
They're so good.
She listens to that same thing?
She does.
I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you.
now everybody should fear Heather and Jenny when you meet them in a dark alley.
I'm telling you, every woman listens to him.
Listens
like
to how
their
to
most-
dismember bodies?
Ask Nichelle.
Hey,
Nichelle's the one that got me started
What?
on them. Nichelle got me started on it.
You know who was the original one?
I was
that
trying to make
listened
a
it?
joke.
Do you know who the original one
I was
who
trying to
listened
make a joke.
Listen, you got
Dismember.
You know who the original person that listened to this podcast was?
Charles Manson?
No, something Bobbitt. What was her name? Don't you know this story? Lorraine
This is a
Bobbitt?
story.
Oh, yeah.
Do we
Yeah,
know
the
her?
guy that cheated on his wife, and his wife snuck in the middle of the night and
Cut him.
dismembered a piece of his body. So she must have been listening to how it was okay to sever somebody's man parts.
Do we know
without
her?
killing him. No, we don't know her.
Well,
No,
you sounded like it was like personal.
no, I'm just saying
Not
that.
our podcast.
Oh.
Crime Junkie podcast.
I'm
Such a
saying
good-
that
such a good
whoever
one.
listened to those podcasts must have been the original creator
Gotcha.
of it. Had to be the whatever her name Bobbitt is. I think it's Lorraine or
So she's in prison making them?
I don't know.
Hey, before
but
you know
she
it, that's-
dismembered her husband's genitals,
That's terrible.
because he cheated on her. But the guy's still alive,
He is?
and he became a porn star. Nick can fact check us.
What?
I think this is true. So whatever
Wow.
he got sewed back on.
That's an inspirational story right there.
It's not an
Yes, it
inspirational
is.
story.
He-
No, the guy was a cheater, got
Well-
dismembered. Now he's porn star.
But-
What's inspirational about
He
that?
overcame a really big obstacle.
Oh, that's not. No.
Yes, he
did
did.
not overcome. Oh, okay.
I mean, he kinda did.
In a great way, right? He became a porn star.
Hey, it's just like if somebody. No, I can't.
No,
say
don't try
this.
not.
I know,
Don't compare
I'm
anything
not
because we
going
might
to.
go down a road that we
Yeah.
shouldn't go down.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So here's what
Okay.
current events now for me. Well, first of all, it's football season, so it's fantasy football. Nick, are you in fantasy football?
I am.
Did you win week 1?
No, I had Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback.
Yes. You know what I said? Any Bears fan that picks a Packer deserves to lose every single game of the year.
He does well in the regular season,
Listen,
so I thought I had a
would
chance.
pull my toenails out with
Ew.
pliers before
That
I
is
would draft a
sick.
Packer.
Oh
because
my
you know what that
gosh.
means? You have to cheer for him. What Bears fan cheers for a Packer?
Yeah, I'd rather cheer for
No,
him.
I didn't cheer for him.
Oh, he's on your fantasy team.
Yeah, but I would totally lose every game just to watch him do what he did
Pull
this past
my
Sunday.
toenails out.
That
I
is
said that to
so
my son
gross.
who drafted a Packer.
Oh.
Brady drafted a Packer in our fantasy league. The MNC
You're like speaking
Hill Family
Spanish
Farms.
right now.
Huh?
I have no idea.
Okay,
what
so
you're-
we'll move on. You know that. So the other thing
No,
is,
people probably care about this.
Yeah, I got killed in both of my leagues in week 1. Killed. Won by my daughter. My
She
daughter.
plays?
She plays fantasy
How
football.
does she
so-
know what all their names are?
Well, she lives with Steven, so that helps. So
He's obsessed
Steven-
with it?
Huh?
He likes football?
Yeah, I mean, he likes sports.
Oh.
The other thing is that I'm trying to continue on with my broadcasting career, so I'll be broadcasting the Grace HU game at Grace.
You are?
On Wednesday night, so going to be doing that.
That's exciting.
That's a second love of mine. Like, I love this.
so
I
exciting.
love
I know, I love it
broadcasting.
too.
So me and Steven will be broadcasting the
He likes
HU
that?
game. Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of Lexi's games.
Why can't we have him on here?
Huh? No, we
We
can't.
should have him as a guest.
Well, remember
I'll put
who's
that
in
on my
charge of
blank
getting the
calendar
guests?
today.
Who's in charge of getting?
Who's in charge?
Who is in charge of getting our guests?
Me.
Yeah, so
I'll put it on my blank calendar.
okay, just saying. Everybody,
Wish I
remember
had
that.
his
name next
Listen,
week.
take this picture of your mind. It's going to be on our blank calendar. So when we put it up there next week, we'll see whether Stephen Halstead is somewhere on that list and whether or not Jenny's reached out to
I don't
him.
have his phone number.
Okay, well, you probably know somebody that does.
I probably do.
Who?
You.
Yeah.
Somebody.
So anyway, so
Yeah.
that's
You
going
could
to
see
be
him at
broadcast.
church on Sunday.
That's true. That's true. Even better, personal, because I did listen to one of my podcasts, and she said that if you're gonna get somebody like a guest on there, you have to do it. If you can't do it in person, then it needs to be voice.
Okay.
So I'm
you're
gonna do
gonna
even
call him.
better. No, I'm gonna be in there on my voice in person.
Where?
Church.
He doesn't go here.
Why did he say that?
Oh, I thought I saw.
No, he came for his dad, but they live in Warsaw.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he came when his dad preached. But
Looks like I'm going to Warsaw. No, I'm just kidding.
no, you're just gonna call him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I doubt that you're driving to Warsaw.
I love Warsaw.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's continues. Anybody that wants me to help him broadcast football games, I really want to broadcast football games, but I can't get it in anywhere. So
I want to do something like that.
No, I love that stuff. The other thing is, I just read a book. Well, yeah, I listened to a book on Audible, and I always say read because it's really the same thing.
You
but
are
not in other people's minds.
No, you're reading.
Jennifer Eller.
Yes,
she
it's all
reminds
her.
me that it's not reading, it's listening, but you can get through a lot of books, and it's called Walk to Listen. And so this guy walks across America and listens to the stories of people, and it was completely fascinating because I'm fascinated with
Do you think he made a good amount of money doing that?
Well, I imagine from his book.
Like, what
probably.
a life.
But I doubt that he made a lot of money when he was traveling around.
Hey,
like that,
I have
pushing
made money.
all of his stuff in a baby stroller.
I'm just saying, that gets people to give you money on the corner, holding a sign.
No, I know, but I doubt that he got that much money.
Yeah,
People
probably
bought
not.
his meals, which was cool. People took
Really?
him in. Oh, yeah, complete strangers. Now there's people that are completely good friends with him, took him in on the road. Like, think about this. Would you do this, Nick? Would you do this, Jenny?
Yes.
Some guy's walking through Huntington with a baby stroller, hasn't probably showered in 2 or 3 days, and he's walking down the road. Would you stop, pick him up, bring him in your house, and let him stay with you?
Well,
Nick.
did people do that?
Yeah, no. Would you do it?
Well, why does he have a baby stroller?
So he didn't have to carry his pack.
Okay, is he off, like, asking? Is he, like, holding up his hand to
No,
be?
his sign says,
Oh, he has a sign.
he has a big
Yes, I
sign
would.
on it that says, walking to listen.
Yeah, I would.
So you would stop along the,
Yeah, I would.
pick him up and bring
Yes,
him to your house.
We have a relatable story.
Okay. That you would walk with a baby stroller.
Yes.
So, no, I mean, again, I do think, he even says this, like, it's pretty amazing that you're walking down the street and down the road and somebody will stop, pick you up and bring you in their home.
Yeah, that's
Take care
cool.
of you, feed you.
That's
and
cool.
again, a lot of these influential families met him at the end. They flew to California and drove
After
out
he
to
wrote the
California.
book?
And no, like on his journey. So like let's say they were in Alabama.
Okay.
So they knew that he was going to be at the end of his journey at a certain time. So they drove to California to welcome him to the end of his journey.
Like the end of a race or something?
Yeah. So it's just cool to know people's stories because that's really what we're about. So part of the round table is helping know people's story from the perspective of how they see it, you know. And so it's taking scripture, which is what we're going to talk about here in a little bit that we talked about on Sunday, and saying from your perspective, like from your story, from the way that you grew up, from the people that are around, from the life circumstances that you have, tell us your story and how that fits together, which I think is what's cool about doing the round table.
Yeah.
It comes from a perspective of this is my story, and from my story, this is how I interpret this, you know, inside of it. So that's what's going on with me. And again, I got done with that book because that's the one thing about listening to books and feeding calves. It was a 16-hour book, and I was done with it in like 3 days.
Hey, I love Audible.
Yeah.
I do. I listen to it on
Nick,
my
are you on
walks.
Audible yet?
Just started.
Okay.
Hey, you get a free 7-day trial or something. You get free 2 downloads, I think is what it is.
Yeah. So
think.
anyway, so that, you know, listening to books, again, trying to figure out life, football season's going on. So that makes it nice to be able to have that.
That does create community.
Football season?
Yeah. Like
Do you
Super
watch
Bowl?
football on Sunday?
No.
Huh?
No.
So it doesn't create community with
Well,
you?
I'm saying it creates community
What
for
about
the
in
ones.
your home? Does your dad watch football?
He used to.
Is he like banning the NFL now?
I'm
'cause
not
they're
there on
kneeling?
Sundays.
Huh?
I'm not there on Sundays.
Okay.
I'm out in nature. I'm serious.
All right, so let's talk about what we talked about this week.
Yes.
So the roundtable, part of what we're going to do is not only bring on guests, get to know them, understand their story, but it's also saying we want to hear their thoughts. You know, so when our guests come on, there will always be this segment. And the segment will be like, here's what we were talking about. Here's what Scripture says. Tell us your perspective. So we're doing this series called Amplified. And in the series Amplified, it's talking through these ideas that whatever's the loudest voice in your life is the thing that's probably going to get your attention the most. And I think it's interesting that culture has really understood that your attention is a high commodity right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
the idea of how to get your attention, and if they can get your attention, it pays big dividends. So everybody is after your attention, right? So whether it be through TV, social media, magazines. Are there still magazines?
Yeah.
There's still physical
Yeah.
magazines out there. So whatever that is.
You didn't know that?
Do you have a physical magazine?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Good Housekeeping comes to me regularly.
Why are you getting Good
Ulta,
Housekeeping?
I don't know. It just shows up, and
I was going to say, why would you get Good
I have
Housekeeping?
no idea.
And what's the other magazine that you get?
Like Ulta, Sephora.
So who?
So
Sephora.
Sephora, it's a makeup store.
Ulta being like the
Ulta.
thing that sells hairspray.
Yeah, yes.
Right?
And makeup.
I only know that.
The
'cause
best store on
It
earth.
used to come through on the credit card thing.
Hey,
when
I
Sherry
missed
was
a-
at Ulta, so
Yes.
I could remember that place.
It's dangerous. It is so dangerous.
I can remember that.
missed a spray tan appointment one time because I spent 3 hours in Ulta.
You get spray tan now?
No, it was only because I was going to the Dominican.
Oh, okay. But you do spray tans now?
No.
I think that's, although Sherry used to get them all the time because she got melanoma, so
Yeah.
she didn't want to be in the sun. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it looks not, I just can't imagine getting painted.
It's not that bad, actually.
Getting painted?
Yeah, no. It's like mist. It's air.
No, I know, but it's still like you're a car getting painted,
I mean, essentially, yeah.
right?
But it's kind of like putting makeup on,
Well,
too.
you know what's funny is when Sherry used to tell me the stories of how it works,
Oh, one time I almost had an asthma attack.
like, like how you have to do the poses.
Yes. Yes.
Like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain poses that you have to do in certain ways to be able to get it all covered.
Yeah. And then getting out of there, you have to it was raining that day too.
So it's all running off like makeup.
I didn't end up getting it done, which I'm grateful for because it was raining.
So you've
I mean,
never had a spray
hard.
tan?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
I used to have panic attacks. One time
in the spray tan booth.
So I was in middle school and I got into one and then I couldn't breathe in there. So it psyched me out so much when I went back that my mom had paid for it. And then I went into, because it was a mechanical one at the time, I got in there and I freaked myself out so much that I couldn't get the spray tan and we didn't even get our money back.
What would have been funny? Can you imagine this? Jenny walking out with half a spray tan. I got so freaked out. Half my body
Yeah.
is tan and half of it's not.
I just ran out.
It's a new look.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the idea is.
No, actually, that is a new look because, okay, never
Oh my
mind.
gosh, this is not a new look.
No, okay, so, but just reminds me of like the half up. So,
Half who?
half up. So when I worked at Hooters, okay? Does that make you laugh every time?
Oh,
It's
yes,
a family
yes.
restaurant.
It's not a
Mind
family
eye.
restaurant.
Yes, it is.
No,
It even
people that
says
say they go to Hooters for the wings is complete.
they have good wings.
No.
Anyways,
The thought of why why are people going to Hooters?
because they like our wings.
No.
The iconic
No.
sauce.
They're going to Hooters
They have
because your
great
boobs are
flaps.
hanging out. Your boobs are hanging out.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yes.
So forget the wings. Somebody figured out that if you could capitalize on the perversion of America,
Yeah. That's
that
what the
you
guy
could make
did
a lot
that-
of money at it.
What's her name? Laurel? Laurel?
Laurel who?
Who chopped off her man's,
Lorena?
Lorena.
Is her name Lorena? That is
Okay,
true.
well,
Lorena
her.
Bobbitt.
Yeah. Her, look at him.
Look at him what? He
He-
capitalizes on the sinful part of the world.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's a good
Hooters
thing.
isn't sinful.
Okay, no, we won't
Okay,
get
but
into that.
anyway,
the
so
point is
my
the
point.
half up.
Yes, the half up. So we would wear pantyhose, and these pantyhose were really dark, okay? And I'm obviously really pale, especially like, because this was when I was in my past and I was using, and
Which
obviously.
made you paler?
Huh?
Which made you paler?
Yes, I didn't go out in the sun ever. I was like in a dark house
Okay.
that was on a really bad street. Anyways, so this little boy, because you know kids are innocent and they'll say anything, he comes up to me, or no, I hear him in the background and he's talking to his mom, even though I'm their server and I'm standing right there. He was like, "Mom, why is she half tan?" Or he said something like that.
Why is the top half of her body white
why are
and the bottom half of her body
Yes.
brown?
Why is she so tan on the bottom? It was something like that. I'm just like, wow.
So anyway, so the point is the whole idea of amplified
Yeah.
voices. So this week we talked about comparison, right? So the idea of if comparison gets into your world, it's difficult for you to stay on the path that God wants you to be on.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about, first of all, personally, Jenny, is comparison a big deal? And if it is, like, what are the things that lead to this comparison problem? Is it, just looking at other people? Is it social media? Is it reading magazines? Is it looking at like what? Well, first of all, is comparison an issue for you?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been more of an issue in the past.
Okay.
But it definitely is still there. Like, it creeps in.
Okay.
But I think to women and men too, but just the industry of the fashion world.
Okay.
That's, I think, what a lot of people my age have grown up with. You have to look a certain way because now it's more body positive, and whatever size you are is self-love. Like, have you ever heard the body positive movement?
What?
You've never heard of the thick thighs save lives?
Thick who?
Thick thighs save lives.
No, I've said this all along. Guys want meat on their women.
Yes, but back in the day,
Nick?
it was
Yeah.
okay. But back in the day, it was more so like everybody
Guys didn't want meat on their women?
Well, I'm sure they did, but that wasn't showcased.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
No,
so
but
women
that's
were
okay.
growing up with the idea that they had to be like,
So they had to be thin.
yes.
Okay.
So I think that was, but what
So
I'm
you
saying
think
is it
for women, I
changed.
guess this is my question. So you're saying for women, there's this like what I look like from how much I weigh to
Yes.
what my makeup is, and you think that that's a common problem.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. The body positive movement.
Has helped?
Well, yeah, because so they are putting models that have normal, which they would say that was plus back then, but it's
Okay.
like actually normal people.
Okay.
And there's like hashtags, and it's just a whole movement.
So again, is the idea to make you feel good because you're like somebody else, or make you feel good because you are you?
You are you.
Okay. So
'Cause
that's the
everybody's
whole idea of this
different.
body positive thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, is it working? Like, seriously? Like, is it? And I've always questioned it. So I look on Instagram, or you look on Instagram, and you're like, hey, there's a model that's body positive. Boy, I feel really good about myself now.
Yeah. No,
Yes?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
know.
asking you.
No,
Is that what really makes a difference in you?
I think it depends on the person. For me,
No,
think
I'm
me?
asking, like, I'm trying to decide, like, is that really what people need, is to be able to look at somebody else that's okay with themselves and say, oh, I'm okay with myself?
No, I think they should go like within. I think actually, I don't know. That's a good question. I think it makes somebody, if you're not comparing with them, at least you can see that somebody else is okay for the size that they are. And most of the times it does help if it's.
Well, the reason I'm asking is that I always wonder this, and maybe, Nick, you can weigh in on this. Like, are people becoming comfortable because of outer acceptance or inner peace? Because that's really what we're trying to do. They're just creating.
Right.
Listen, it's really no different. So let's be honest.
Uh-huh.
Back then, it was, here's an acceptable model. And so you either do or don't compare. So there were some skinny girls that are like, yeah, I mean, I feel good because I'm like them. Right? So that's my body type. That's the way I am. So it fits. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's some, whatever you called it, people. And
Yeah.
I'm like them. So now I feel good about myself because other people are like me. Like, I'm trying to decide, is that really what we're trying to figure out, is how to have a sense of peace because we're like somebody else, or because we're us? Like, I am who I am because I am a son of God and you are a daughter of God. And my peace comes from the one who can give it to me, not because and I'm not even saying it's wrong. I mean.
No, I completely agree. I think that's how it should be.
But
Like,
do you think, Nick, you're more on this social media, well, you and Jenny both. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think that they're trying to create a culture of just saying, we accept more, and so now you fit in more?
Oh yeah, I think it's
Just more is out there that's acceptable, and so now
Yeah.
you feel good about it because
feel
now
good because it's acceptable.
Yeah.
yeah.
not
So
because
now
you love
something
it.
that wasn't out on social media before now is out there. So now you can say, oh, I just feel more accepted because they put it out there, and now it's in front of us.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, I get what they're trying to do, but does that cause you? And this is the question about comparison. Does it cause you to look more outward than it does inward?
oh, absolutely.
Because I just wonder how many people have this sense of like, I am who I am, and I know who I am because I've got it from the one who created me. Right? Do you think most people, if you sat down and talked with
Absolutely
them,
not.
No?
No. That most people feel that way or think
Yeah.
that way? No. No, I mean, know that we are going into a better time where mental health is becoming more prevalent. A lot of people are actually talking about it.
What are they talking about? So when we talk about what is going wrong in mental health, like I think that's interesting. So when we're saying mental health is going, because I would hear you when you're saying we're talking more about
I think it's
people
just
who have to struggle with certain things.
I think it's just not considered shame anymore.
To be depressed.
Right, because growing up, it was more so you don't talk about it.
Okay.
You don't have depression or anxiety or ADHD.
Right.
You know, it was...
How many HD? What'd you say?
ADHD. ADHD.
Okay.
What'd you think I said?
Well, it seems like
Do you
there's
have
a lot
ADHD?
of Do what?
Do you have ADHD?
Okay, listen.
Do you think I do?
No, this is what I'm going to
You
tell
said no?
you. I am a
That's the kindest thing.
self-diagnosed person. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have ADHD.
Did you self-diagnose that?
Yeah, because you know why? Because I don't ever get it checked. So I can just tell you, is your blood pressure good?
I'm great.
Yeah. Do you have ADHD?
He eats
No.
Cheerios.
Huh?
His cholesterol is down.
I don't eat cereal.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Well, one, it's a waste of money.
Oh, no, it's so good.
When you could make an egg from the chicken that you have in your backyard instead of like, I'm going to go eat cereal.
Not a lot of people have chickens in their backyard.
Okay, well, maybe they should start because this is what we realize in the world. As soon as we run out of something, everybody's going to starve to death because they don't know how to find
That's
any
already
food.
happening.
Huh?
It's already happening.
Yeah, like there's no food.
Yes.
So,
No, there really
you
isn't.
couldn't figure out how to cook for yourself unless you went and it was already made.
Yeah.
No, cereal drives me crazy. That's what I've been telling my kids. So since Sherry died, I haven't been to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store once to pick up some meat to cook real quick because I didn't have anything thought out. But I haven't been to the grocery store. And Isaac opened up the cabinets today and he's like, I got to go to the grocery because he goes every once in a while. Yeah, there's no chips.
Oh, my gosh.
No cereal. No snack food. None of that.
What do you drink?
Huh?
What do
Water.
you drink? That's it?
Don't remember, I'm on the gallon of water thing. My kids told me I had to get on a gallon of water a day.
Oh, heck no.
So I'm on a gallon of water.
Surprised
a day,
you made it this long.
Because Isaac asked me that this morning. Someone stopped by the grocery. What do you want to drink? And I'm like, well, I'm on the discipline of the amazing water. Water
Why are
tastes
you
so
doing
good.
that?
Huh?
Why are you doing that?
Well, it started because when I was in the hospital with Sherry, I mean, I come out weighing 256,
That's right.
260, somewhere in there. And I was having this trouble with gout. So if you've never had gout before, I'm like, I couldn't hardly walk at times because I drank gallons of sweet tea. Anyway, so Steven bought me this jug that's a gallon, and it has the times on it, and you're supposed to have it drank. But I've been doing that, and I mean, I've lost
Where's it at?
some weight in my office.
What, isn't it time for you to drink? Because isn't it like hourly?
Yeah, that's why
You should have brought it
That's
in
why
here.
you chug it every once in a while. Well, the reason I didn't bring it in here because I thought I was going to have a tumbler, but I will be bringing it next week because our podcast person who said we were going to get tumblers. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off the subject.
We are.
Huh?
We are.
No, I know when you order
There's
them.
a shortage in everything right now.
Not tumblers.
Yes, there
No.
is. Yes, there is. Go on line.
No, I asked Jennifer and she said you could get them next day.
Nuh-uh, because you have to send in your logo. You have to do all this stuff.
Anyway, let's get back to the comparison.
Okay.
Right? So the idea is when people compare themselves, because this is what we're trying to figure out. So Scripture would tell us, and that's what we're going to read here in a second in Hebrews, like God has a specific grace for you, and you're uniquely designed. And anytime you look outside of yourself, you're missing the design that God has for you.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to read it.
Hey,
Okay, go ahead.
Hebrews 12:1. That was posted on our story on both social media accounts this morning.
Do you want to know when you're a complete loser, when your bookmark is
Do you need to know, or do you already know?
grass-fed beef sticks?
Oh
Because
my gosh.
I had men's group last night, and I didn't have a chance to eat supper.
So you brought one of those. Why is it blue?
I have a bag of these. Sherry bought a bunch of these because she was on that like all meat diet.
Oh, keto?
Yeah. And so she has bags of these. So I'm on this like quest to eat everything in our house so that I don't have to go in the grocery. So I just
aren't you there already?
So
This has
I've just
zero
been
sugar?
going around, and whatever is around, whether I like it or not, I just eat it.
That's awful.
That I can just get everything
Somebody
cleaned up.
send some groceries.
No, because Sherry
Over
has
to
all
your
this
house.
canned food, and we have all this stuff in the pantry. So I'm looking through there. I'm like, oh, we have a lot of that. Oh, I guess I'm having beans.
Oh my God.
Or something.
Like random stuff.
Oh, yeah,
all
like
day.
Lexi called me one night. What are you having for supper? Cheese Whiz and crackers.
That's a good dinner.
Because she said, "What are you eating Cheese Whiz?" I'm like, "I found it in the cupboard. We got to get it
Oh.
8 before it expires."
Hey, that makes sense because
Yeah,
how much
that's what I'm
food
saying.
is left in there?
That's my point.
Oh, for years.
It's dwindling
Yes.
because I've been mowing it down.
That's a great
Don't go
idea.
out to eat. So that was the other thing. I haven't been eating out. So I've just been eating everything we have in our pantry till I get it empty.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You should take pictures.
So this is the what happened on the way. I thought I got to put this bookmark in, and
I love bookmarks
I'll just
like
use
that.
what I ate for supper: the mini beef stick, grass-fed beef.
I bet it still smells like your dinner.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so let me read it. So this is Hebrews 12, 1 through 3. So it says, "Since we have such a huge crowd of men of faith watching us from the grandstands, let us strip off everything that slows down or holds us back, and especially those sins that wrap themselves so tightly around our feet and trip us up. And let us run with patience the particular race that God has set for us. Keep your eyes on Jesus, our leader and instructor. He was willing to die a shameful death on the cross because of the joy he knew would be his afterwards. And now he sits at the place of honor by the throne of God. If you want to keep from becoming faint-hearted and weary, think about the patience as sinful men did such terrible things to him." So in Hebrews 12:3, it says specifically, you need to run your race.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a certain race picked out for you. So this is a question I asked my men's group last night. So let me ask you.
Okay.
If we went around and we did a poll, or maybe this should be something we put out there, like a poll.
Okay.
If God says particularly, right, because this, what he says inside of the scripture is he says, the particular race that was set out before us. So meaning there's a particular race set out for you, Jenny, that's different than my race, that's different than Nick's race. Do you think most people would be able to say, yep, I know the race that I'm running, I know how to prepare for it, I know how to stay in my lane, and I know what that race is, and I know that the race that I'm running is right because the fruit of my race or the fruit of my labor is? Mm-hmm. Do you think most people will be like, yep, I can tell you what it is?
No.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Nick, is that true?
I think I would agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
Really? That you think most people
You think
would not?
people would?
I think most people wouldn't know.
I don't think people know themselves, and I don't think
Yeah, well, that's the question is why? Like, why wouldn't people, do
The
people not
world.
want to do the work, like the inward
Yes.
unpacking of who you are
no. Yeah.
in Christ?
Yes.
No, they don't want to do that
Right.
work?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. And the reason being, is it too much work? Is it easier for me to tell you what I think you should be than what God?
Absolutely. Why do you think people listen to the pastor more than they do God? Why do you think?
I don't know.
Why do people leave church when something happens with the pastor?
No, so you would rather me say, like, I think this is who God wants you to be instead of God be like, Jenny, I know you. I designed you. I created you. Like, don't you think most people would rather hear from him? Or do you think that they're just saying, I've tried and I can't ever hear?
I think it can be a little bit of everything. A lot of it, I think, can be fear of, like, was that him that said that? Or, or maybe that seems too hard and they don't have enough faith. I think it could be a lot of things, or lazy.
Yeah, and I think maybe we can just attribute this to the idea of, like, part of the hard part about the Christian faith is that it's work. And I do think what people want is they would rather be told what to do by man than by God.
Yes.
Because it takes work. Mm-hmm. It takes work to sit alone, right? And ask the Lord and listen, to what it is that he wants us to do. And then once you're on that path, to stay on that path takes a lot of work, because once you're on it, because this is the key, when you're in the starting blocks, does Satan attack you?
Yes.
In the starting blocks, like before you're running your race?
Oh, before I'm running? Absolutely.
Yeah,
like
I don't
before
think
I'm.
so.
You don't think so?
Like, if you're doing nothing,
If I'm doing nothing,
if
and
you're
then
just sitting there and you're not running at all, does Satan care?
No, it's not as bad.
No, right? Because why would he care? Because he can't take your salvation, so why
Right.
attack you? But once you start running the race, now all of a sudden somebody wants to trip you up. Mm-hmm. Somebody wants to say, like, and you said it in the beginning of our podcast.
Yeah.
Part of
Oh, I know that was.
there was a
Satan.
race. You looked outside of your lane, and as soon as you looked outside of your lane, you saw something that took you out of the race.
Immediately, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the reason is because you looked outside of your lane.
Mm-hmm.
Because the lane that you were going down was good, and the things that God was doing was good, but you took one glance over and saw something in another lane that you wanted,
Yeah.
different than the race that you were on, and you decided to go that way. And I think that's something that we need to discuss, because part of what the scripture would tell us is that part of the reason people aren't running the race is because they want to run another one.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that that's true? Is that people don't like the race that they're on and they want somebody else's race?
Yes.
They want to do what somebody else is doing instead of what God's made them to do.
It seems cooler, or
Yeah, it's more popular. You get more notoriety, for what you're doing. So you want to be able to do it and be noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have to know that our race is our race. And the thing that he says in this, that's said later on by Jesus is, for each one of us, we want these words to be said. When you stand in front of Jesus Christ, the words that you want to hear are,
good and faithful servant.
well done, right? Good.
Well, that's the second part.
No, like well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
And again, he can say that because you stayed in your lane. You ran your race.
Yeah.
So if you could give Jenny advice to our audience of, like, first of all, how are you okay with your uniqueness? Because that's what I even told you. Like, when we sat down and talked, I'm like, Jenny, if you're going to thrive in life, when we had you need to be okay with who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so how do you do that? And then how do you help our audience get to that place that they're okay with the uniqueness of how God created them? Like, how do you do it?
I think it's an ongoing thing for me.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it's just really being okay with yourself and being in a good place mentally.
Okay.
And just being aware of what makes you unique.
Okay.
And actually realizing the power of being unique. Because I think if you don't know, I don't know, because you grow up wanting to be like other people. So you have to get out of that and really value yourself and respect yourself and really believe that you're worthy to be able to see your uniqueness for the way that God wants it.
Right. And I think that's the key. Like, the key of being okay with uniqueness is being okay with God.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not okay with yourself, essentially what you're saying to the creator of the universe is he did a bad job.
Yeah. I heard it was a quote one time, and it really hit me, like when I thought about it. It was, I can't remember exactly because this was like years ago, but it had to do with exactly what we're talking about, where if you don't like who you are or just something along that lines, then it is not upsetting God, but it's basically disrespectful because it's something that he created and he made it. And to me, it was like not about me at that time when I thought about that. It was like, how dare I think that way about myself when, it was God that was doing it. Like, I'm making him feel bad.
Well, and you got to know that this is a big deal because plastic surgery today is one of the highest grossing business models that are out there. And the only reason that it's out there is because I'm saying, you know what? I don't look the way that I want to look. Doesn't matter how God created me, but I want to look different, so I'm going to have somebody make me different.
Oh, yeah, and how many people are getting plastic surgery to look like another celebrity? Or have you ever seen that? It's a TV show. It's pretty scary.
People actually get plastic surgery to look like somebody else?
Yeah, like exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, remember, this is and my son-in-law Stephen reminded me this, the quote of Theodore Roosevelt. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. Because again, it's true. Like, if you spend your whole life, and I've said this, and this is what I try to teach my staff because I had to learn this from the beginning. The best version of you is when you look the most like Christ, not like somebody else. So when you come to work here, it's more about trying to figure out who you are in Christ than it is about what are your talents.
Yeah.
Or how can you do what the church needs you to do? What the church needs from you when you're on staff here, what this world needs from you is for you to be more like Jesus, not, figuring out what you can be really good at because somebody else is really good at it. Like, figuring that out. How did Jesus create you? Because then, like you said earlier in the podcast, if we operate out of the uniqueness of who we are and we do and run the race that we're supposed to be on, can you ever get burnt out?
No.
Yeah.
And you're going so much farther than you ever could do by yourself.
Right, because he says in Matthew, he says, my yoke is easy and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
Right. So for our listeners, this is what we want you to walk away with.
And in me, you can do all things.
Yeah. Yeah. And again,
Apart
through
from me,
him.
the vine, that was in my devotion this morning.
Right. So if your listeners, if you're struggling with comparison or whatever is causing you to struggle with comparison, we want you to know that the first thing that you need to get to is a place where you're at peace with how God created you to be.
Yeah.
And if somebody else is telling you, because I want to remind you that there is a part of all of us that needs, we need to be better at. So if you're sitting there like, oh, God made me to put my alarm on snooze 25 times, that doesn't count. God did not make you to not get up in the morning.
Why?
Right? Huh?
I love snooze.
Listen, my point is you can't use some of these things that we need to get better at.
Right.
For an excuse to say, well, it's just me.
Yeah.
But there is this sense of how God created us, so we need to be at peace with. And we need to be okay when somebody else says, as an example, I wish you were more. Well, I'm not. So I don't know what to tell you, but if you want me to be more of that, you're never going to have that from me. So if you're asking for that from me, just so we're on the same page, you're never going to get it. I can tell you what you can't do. What?
Defending yourself.
Yeah, I just want them to understand, I look at it and say, this isn't any... I'm not going to try to be good at something that God didn't create me to be good at. I'm just not going to do that. Most pastors are great counselors. Pfft, not me. Right?
You'll tell it like it is.
Well, I'm more of a coach, right?
Yes,
I'm not really
definitely.
a counselor. And so when people be like, oh, you should be way more, empathetic and you should be way better at that counseling, I'm like, no.
But again, that's what makes you you.
No,
and
I'm
that's
going to
why
actually send you to somebody that's good at it.
I've had somebody tell me the reason why they come to church here is because one of your qualities. I think it was because you were wearing a jersey on a preach. Actually, yeah, because not only is it oh, well, I just like that my pastor wears a jersey. It's the whole principle behind you wearing a jersey because you don't care what people think.
And just for everybody that watch Sunday morning, because if you love the cutoff shirt, make sure you put in comments because I want to keep wearing those, but I get shot down by the dress code team for Life Church.
Hey, it's about to be a meme.
Huh?
You're pegging your pants is about to be a meme.
I'm just saying.
You think I'm joking?
Huh?
You
the
think
dress code people were on me for the cutoff shirt, but that's that's
it was
me.
Hilarious.
That's me. Yeah. Okay, so if you're struggling, know this. Do whatever you need to do to get to a place where you can find to be okay with who you are. Because remember this, your name, who you are, first is a son and a daughter of God.
Yeah.
Right? That is something that you have to be okay with, and the rest of it will fall into place.
Yeah, I think it's something you need to remind yourself daily because it is a daily thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because not only if you get to a place where you are okay with yourself and you feel worthy, then you might be about to restart your podcast and then be listening to a bunch of podcasts and then be comparing that way. So I think it's just a daily thing that it's a battle that is...
Right. So let's end it up with the fan segment. New segment here at the round table.
Yes.
So our fan segment, this is how the fan segment works. First of all, we have an email that we want you to send stuff to. You can see it there.
It's right here.
Right there.
I'm going to be fan of white.
There's nothing down here.
I like
right
this
there.
better.
The
I've
round
always wanted
table
to be
at
here.
lifehuntington.com. Here's how you use that email. So that can be a couple different things. One, we want fan feedback.
Yes.
So we want you guys to be like, hey, this is what we thought of the podcast. Here's some advice, people saying, here's what I think of.
Yeah.
Being I listened to what you said. Let me tell you about my story. Let me tell you about my experience when it comes to comparison or whatever it is or whatever God's doing in your life. We want to be able to share your story. The other thing is questions. We have questions, and it could be a question about what we talked about, or it could be a question about what we're going to talk about in the future. Yeah, so whatever those things are. If you want to be a guest or you want somebody to be on as a guest,
nominate.
That's a great place to put that on there. And so our producer will be going through the emails and we'll be answering them every week in this fan segment. Now, again, if it's what I want it to be, we won't be able to answer all of them.
Right, that would be amazing. But listen, no, if it is what you want it to be and it becomes so good, we're going to have a special shows.
On just doing our fan, just getting to all the
I'm trying to zoom everybody in. How cool would that be? Yeah. My dog.
Here's the other part of the fan segment. So each week we're going to have a theme. So Jenny picked this week being theme.
Well, we're doing 2 themes.
Huh? No, we're not. We're doing one theme.
I thought we're doing 2.
No, the theme is fall.
Oh, right.
Here's the uniqueness between Jenny and I when it comes to fall, right? So when
Yeah.
you think of fall, here's what I think of, and here's what we want you to send to us, your best trail cam picture, because hunting season is coming up.
You know what's funny? When I was designing this, I really, as much as I hate deer heads on the walls, I wanted to put one up on your side.
But that's your point. So if you have your trail cams out, which I'm assuming you guys who are hunters have your trail cam pics
That's a
out. This
cute
is
deer.
obviously a trail cam pic from last year in the woods that me and my
Oh,
sons
you took
hunted.
that?
Oh, the trail
It
cam.
looks like a Google picture.
No, it's a trail cam pic.
Oh.
Do you know what a trail cam
I
is?
do, because I've seen a really scary movie on it.
So you put this out in the woods and it takes
Yes.
pictures of deer when you're not there. So
I
this
know.
is a buck in our woods. We got a bunch more of them. But hopefully you got your trail cams out. Hopefully you're getting pictures, or maybe you have one from last year. Send us in your best
pretty.
trail cam pic, and we'll highlight it next week and we'll talk about it. But again, the uniqueness, I'm thinking of hunting season. When it comes to
Yeah.
fall, this is what Jenny's thinking of.
Beautiful. Look at him. He's sticking his little tongue out.
Oh, so when Jenny thinks of fall, she's thinking of her dog.
Look
and
at
the
that. That was a
trees.
year ago. Look how small he was.
Yeah, but so we want you, in your uniqueness, when you think about fall.
so cute.
Send your best fall pics, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your dog, whether it's with being in the woods, or your trail cam pic because you're excited about hunting, to the roundtable at lifehuntington.com.
So simple.
We'd love to be able to hear feedback from you. And again, we just thank you. Today was a little
Yeah.
bit long, but we thank you for being able to share our story.
Was it long?
I don't know. Yeah, it was
Yeah?
a little bit long.
We're getting
So
thumbs up.
the deal is, thank you for letting us share
Yeah,
our
thank you.
stories with you, and being able to just unpack, our own lives and why we were gone and what God's doing. And we're really excited about what the future is going to bring here at the Roundtable. So we want you to subscribe. Every week we'll be doing this on Tuesday. It should be out on Wednesday. We want you to subscribe, get other people to subscribe. We want to have lots of guests on. And again, more than anything, we want to bring God glory.
Absolutely.
Like through the uniqueness of life, the uniqueness of story, and we think it can get done sitting around a round table, talking about the stories of life and celebrating what God's doing. So thanks everybody for joining this this week, and we look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Bye.
I was going to say, you got to get that in. Bye.